Alright, Diablo 4 fans, we're going to be talking about Necromancer builds, and what I think is the best leveling slash end game slash nightmare dungeon pushing for a Necro to use. Bone Spear is probably the most usable class setup. There is the Infinite Blood Nova, but I just prefer this one to be a lot more fun, a lot more active. So I'm going to show you, where am I going? First going to show you the skills. You want to go into Reaper 1, and the main thing you want to get is this one, so you can form a corpse every time you swing. And then for your core skills, Bone Spear, you're going to want to go for the 5% increased critical strike chance and 2 more bones. Then you want to go to Corpse Location. The whole build is going to be about forming corpses, and you'll see why in a second. I also went with a lot more essence and perfectly balanced got fixed. Can go more points into this if you want, but I like to prefer a little bit more armor and defense over damage, but this is a really good skill to get. Coming down into here, you'll want to just get Blood Mist 1. This is your panic button. Things are looking rough. You pop it, hit your potion, and you heal. Next, you want to go with Corpse Explosion. You only need the first one. Can get the second one if you want, but it's definitely not needed. And then you want to go more essence and more damage after using a corpse. Because the next part of the build... Oh, hold on. Iron Maiden. Here, before we do that. The main important part of your build is Corpse Tendrils. Sucks in all the enemies, stuns them for a bit, gets blood orbs for healing. That's where they're being slowed. And this is where I like to get my Fortify. Fortify is nice, but if you want, you can take those upgrade points and put them into a perfectly balanced if you'd like. But like I said, I prefer more defense over attack because you're already getting a lot of attack. Especially if you're hardcore. You definitely want defense for hardcore. And then you can either go Iron Maiden or Decrepify. I like Iron Maiden a lot more for this reason. Every time you curse an enemy and you kill them, you get a bunch of your health back. And you can spam this because it no longer costs essence with this upgrade. And you get more essence. And then you want to get Amplified Damage, Death's Embrace, and Death's Reach. You can take one off of here and put into here or vice versa. I'm always up in the fray. So I like the close damage and damage neglection. But like I said, you can go 3-1, 1-3, either or. Then whenever you get down here, this is about all your bone skills because your main damage is going to be Bone Spear. So you want the increased critical strike chance. You want critical strike more damage. And then you want to do increased damage to vulnerable enemies. And you'll see why in a second. And then you're doing standalone because this is a no minion build. So you're always going to have 80% damage reduction. And then your skeletal warriors and skeletal mages, their bonuses are increased by 60%. Which for those ones, you're going to want to sacrifice the skeletal warriors for more critical strike chance. So 60% of that would be 3, so that's an extra 8%. Whenever it comes to mages, you want to sacrifice the cold, so you deal more damage to vulnerable enemies. And when it comes to golems, you want to do the, the iron golem. I almost called it a stone. You deal 30% more critical strike damage. And then to cap it off, you definitely want to get the ossified essence. It's just a lot more damage, bigger numbers, more serotonin coming in. Our small brains as gamers are happy. Now I'll show you what I'm running with armors and our aspects. So before I say anything, I will say all of these aspects you're able to get from dungeons. So you can go complete the dungeon on a lower tier if you need. You can get the aspect and then come put it on your armor, except for one. This is the only aspect that you cannot get from dungeon farming, so you just gotta get lucky. I recently just replaced this 30-40 minutes ago. I was using like a 560 item power piece, just a regular legendary amulet, because this aspect is really important. So you want to go with the helmet with the damage reduction every time you use a basic skill. More defense, always nice. More armor for more defense on the chest piece. Then gauntlets. Primary attacks make enemies hit beyond the first, meaning you hit your bone spear, and the bone spears that split off that come back make them vulnerable, and you do a lot more damage already. Cause oh, hold on, let me kill him. All right, and we're back at it. The chest piece, damage elite, gets you a barrier, more defense. Critical strikes grant movement speed, and you're always going to be critical striking. It's going to be nice. Now for the weapon. I like two-handed weapons. You can go one with a focus, but I like the big numbers for the two-handed sword. Anytime you use corpse tendrils, you'll get 20% increased critical strike chance and 40% increased critical strike damage. Now this is the base. You can find other ones out in the wild from random aspects. I used to have one where it was gained 40% increased critical strike damage with 80% bonus critical strike damage, and I'm still looking for that. But this is the base one you can get from the dungeon, and it's still really good. Now on for the amulet and rings. Like I said, this is the only aspect that you cannot get from a dungeon. You have to find it randomly. Then for the first ring, you want to go to up to 10% chance to generate 30 essence when hitting a vulnerable enemy. You're always making them vulnerable. You have a chance to get 30 essence when hitting back. It's just a free bone spear. And then restore one of your primary resource when you crowd control an enemy. And that's every time you're going to be using Iron Maiden or Decrepify. Or Corpse Tendrils when you slow them, because that's considered crowd controlling an enemy. Now when it comes to the Malevolent Hearts, I like the this one where you gain critical strike damage, but your critical strikes deal less damage because you're going to be doing a lot of your damage with critical strikes. Then for this one, you can either use the Brutal Heart for a free Decrepify. That's why I use Iron Maiden, because I already have Decrepify on here. Pretty much slows them down, they do less damage. And then every time you walk to your corpse, it will automatically activate and equips corpse skill, so either your explosion or tendrils, and it does a little less damage, but you're not worried about the damage because you just want them being pulled in. Now for the helmet, go into one of your talents. Since I already had intelligence here, I rolled with strength because the fire resistance is still good. The chest piece, go for bone skill damage, more damage, bigger numbers, happy life. Critical strike chance, always on the gauntlets. You want as much critical strike chance as you can get. Like for the same thing I said about the headpiece, go for intelligence, dexterity, willpower, and not strength, because you don't really need too much armor. So I went with the willpower, because that's what I rolled. For the boots, I like going all stats, getting a bunch of, whatchamacallit, free perks for free. Such as all of this, you get a bunch of additional from this. And as a necro, you want to go into intelligence for more skill damage and dexterity for more critical strike chance. But still try and balance out willpower too, so you get more healing and more resource generation. The sword, go for your main stat, which is intelligence. For the amulet, I like more damage. And the rings, critical strike damage. And I'm still trying to re-roll this one. I already have my critical strike chance of damage. And now I'll show you the Paragon board. So I go up, so far I go up the right side for more damage. And I've been using the glyph socket for control, because you're always crowd controlling enemies. This is just an extra 50% damage. And then you want to get both of these for more damage and more armor. And I go up this way because you get the dexterity and intelligence. Now coming in here, you want to go Bone Graft. Bone Graft is really nice. You increase their essence a lot, increase more damage. You know the gist of the build now. I'm pretty sure this is the 3rd or 4th legendary node you can select from. and I rotate it to where it's in the bottom corner so you can get it right away. Then you want to get the Entomb so you get more critical strike chance. Come up here and then get the essence on kill and maximum essence. Get them all around. And then you want to come up here and get Calcified. And you want to go all the way up here so you can get the other bone skill damage along with another glyph socket. Now that's pretty much the build. I'm going to show you how it performs. Because some of you thinking, oh, what are you doing? You're in World Tier 4 only level 60. Yeah, I've been in World Tier 4 since I've hit level 55. That's how strong this build is. And no, I don't have any elixirs increasing my damage. I have cold resistance, and that's just because I like the bonus XP. Hold on, let the lightning strike. You always want to start off with your attacks with a basic skill because you get that damage reduction and you can create a corpse. Then once you create the corpse, you hit him with your Iron Maiden and then you hit him with the Bone Spears. See that? 485. Now obviously my build isn't perfected yet, so I'm not doing as much damage as I'm going to be doing in the future because I'm still leveling, only level 63. But as you see, the elites just get melted. Being in World Tier 4 is a little hard at such a low level because you still are going to be squishy. My biggest pain is definitely these guys, the Horror Corpse Bows, because they can hit you off screen. So that's one thing you got to watch out if you're on hardcore. Obviously, if you're not, it doesn't matter as much. But you still want to just be careful of your surroundings. You're still going to be doing a lot of damage. You're going to be going through these things like nothing. And then I'll also show you, all these corpses, they just explode automatically. It's a free damage. Free damage for you. Free damage to the enemies. We like free damage. Yep, see, those bone guys, they hit hard. Alright, so... Oh. But this is the best necro build, in my opinion. I want to show... Oh, they're over here, okay. I want to show off the boss damage. Now, obviously, this build... Okay, hold on. Blood Mist. That's the panic button. This build is definitely more centered to taking out groups of enemies, dealing AoE damage, and all that fun stuff. So it is a little harder for bosses, but it still gets the job done. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, the Saugats you want to go, I like life, maximum life. For the weapon, you definitely want critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies. And the helmet piece, you can go any kind of damage reduction you want. I did walk control, what the hell, I'm having a stroke. Control impaired. That way if I'm ever slown, frozen, anything like that, oh, I'm lagging. Oh, I was lagging bad there. What's going on with my internet? And also what happens, there's a bunch of lag, bunch of DCs, bunch of stuff like that in Diablo. They need to fix their servers a little. So that's why the Blood Mist is real nice. Use it whenever you need. It only lasts a little bit, but hopefully by then the lag does subdue. See what I mean? More lag. It's inevitable. It's like Thanos. Always get ya. Now, I might not be the best at explaining this build, so somebody who made a similar guide, somebody who I watch on YouTube, his name is Nick2. He is a Diablo YouTuber as well, and he has somewhat of a similar build for a bone spear. So if you want to go check out his video, you can, or if not, thanks for sticking around here. Alright, this lightning is getting on my nerves. Like, I'm just trying to do my thing, right? Alright. By the end of this, I will show you there is another heart you can use instead of the Decrepify for the ring. And it just pretty much gives you a bunch more damage. But I prefer the Decrepified Malignant Heart because I like having that extra damage reduction instead of the extra damage, because as you can see, we're already mowing down these enemies. And you can see I'm level 63, taking on level 76s. So we don't really need to worry about damage at the moment. But if you feel comfortable with your build and you play a lot and you know like enemy patterns, you're a pro at Diablo, you've been playing for a while, you can obviously go for the more damage if you're accustomed to it. I got it. What is that? Unique. Free bone spear to spawn. That's all right. As you can see, there's no reason to worry. As you see, you can make all them blood orbs, pick them up, heal up. So you don't really got to rely too much on your potions. Obviously, the potions are nice, and use them when you have to. But if you're in an area and you don't need to use a potion right away, you're always going to have those blood orbs. These fly swarms are everywhere. And that's the one Malignant Heart you see just activating all those corpses around. Alright. Come on. There we go. And as you see, my critical strike is 32, 265, but my base is like 30, 160. So you see that a bunch of your damage definitely comes you spamming your abilities. As you can see, now I'm at 52, 265, down to 32. Every time I cast Corpse Tendrils, I get an extra 20% critical strike, along with 40% critical damage. So anytime that happens, whether I cast it, or my Malignant Heart casts it. And then one of the perks on Corpse Explosions that you definitely need, like I'll spam Bone Skills here, and then if I pop all the explosions, I get it back. Every time you pop an explosion, you get your essence back. And that's another reason why the Corpse Heart, or the Malignant Heart, is so good for Corpse Explosion. It's just a passive income for essence. And a passive damage bonus too, depending on which one it casts. Come on. Alright, it should be time for the boss fight now. Oh, not here. I will say, the fire guys, those fire explosions, you gotta watch out for them if you're new. They even get me still. They do a lot of damage for no reason whatsoever. So if you're on hardcore, watch out for that. I will be starting up a hardcore character soon. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with Rogue because that was my first character that I ever started on. Or I'm gonna go with Druid. Because in the regular game I made a Rogue that I got to 70 something. And then I got a Sorcerer up to like 55, 60. But like I said, as you can see, we're just melting the elites. And then how my health is, if you click triangle, all that poison goes away. So if you're ever poisoned like that, all you gotta do is click your triangle button and all the poison's just gone. Alright, we get it, Lightning. You're here. You don't wanna destroy us. It ain't happening. Alright, now here's the boss. You'll see boss damage. It go crazy. The one problem is though, especially with bosses, like I said, this is all sorted around having a group of enemies, so you always get those corpse explosions for essence. But even with bosses, you still do a lot of damage to just negate it. It takes a couple extra seconds, but you'll melt them immediately. That was my Bone Spear Necro build. Thank you all for coming. Glad you enjoyed it. Alright, Lightning. We get it. You're still going on. But that's it, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your days. Peace.